What's up, future shredlords? Welcome back. Death to the fingers. The whole sort of improv shred at the beginning has nothing to do with outside the fact that I actually nailed that major 7 arpeggio, the string skipping one with the tapping. I was like, that was pretty cool. So it's going in the video. That's it. So we're not really doing any shreddy stuff. Instead, this is more of a compendium of the triad arpeggios, doing conversions and then using that layered with the CAGED system. So each sort of relevant chord. Right now I start off with, I can't remember, it's probably the G types. Right, but the point being here is normally, you know, if you're landing on the 1st degree, the 4th degree, or the 5th degree, you're going to use the major variant of the G type, right? If you land on the 2nd, 3rd, or 6th degree of the scale you're working in, the major scale, right? E major, whatever that is, you're like, oh, it's the 6th degree. Of E major, that's going to be the minor variant. If you land on the 7th, it's going to be diminished. Now, sort of going through these mathematical conversions where you're like, it's 1, 3, 5 for the major, then it's 1 flat 3 5 for the minor variant, and then 1 flat 3 flat 5, meaning you're lowering the 3rd degree and the 5th degree by a half step each. That process basically bakes this into the noodle, right? So you can't really skip over it, and you shouldn't. Make sure you sit there and sort of be like, what am I doing? What note am I starting on? You're like, okay, that's why it moves down like that. So bottom line is don't miss out on the teaching and the learning, if you will, opportunity. It's like you're teaching yourself. You're learning, but you're teaching yourself. It's complicated, but there's a difference there. There's being programmed, and then there's thinking for yourself. So I'll leave it up to you to be like, which one works best? Especially considering nobody else can tell you or show you how to play the guitar for yourself, right? Like, obviously. So you'll see me play scales, right? Obviously in relation to the G type, just one note on the low E string. Then when I get to the A type, I use the classical method, 2 notes, right? If I wanted to, I could do 3 notes per string. When I'm playing like the A type chord, well, I know that the root is on the A string, so I play a major scale from the A string, right? Which would give me the, which one would that give me? Mixolydian? Nails it. Right, so from the 6th string perspective, of course. And you'll get this, that helps, obviously. You're like, oh, I just take the major and I started here on the A string, but when I do that, I basically get the, you know, what it looks like from Mixolydian when I start on the A string. And then all of a sudden, those 2 pieces of information just link together and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of helpful. Right, so keep that in mind. Effectively, there's each time you do one of these arpeggio sequences and stuff, there's you know, a whole bunch of underlying information, scales, the chords, how to play them. You know what I mean? And then of course these arpeggios, and we didn't even really sort of attach them together in inversions and whatnot. We'll do that in the next video. But long story short is that you know, this is essential information. You have to know how to do this no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're going to do the super shreddy versions, but just being able to play these, do these sort of musical conversions from major to minor to diminished, using a particular kind of chord family, G types, A types, E types, right? And understanding like the C and the D type, they basically share this central information that's really the most important thing. So I can just kind of forget about the D one and just lump all that information in with the C type. And then you're like, that happens at the Phrygian position. Okay, so everything starts to line up and that gives you the tools to work with. And last but not least, of course, is just you sort of playing around with these sequences until you get it right. You can hear me do it at the last one with the A type. I like to move down a half step and play a symmetrical diminished. In that case, it just sounds better to me with respect to that particular arpeggio. But then I'm like, move back up. That's going to sound terrible. So, of course, my musical sense kicked in. I'm like, move down one more time, do another diminished from the Locrian position, right? Minor 7, flat 5. And boom, that gave me the wings to fly up to the 1st degree and just end the lick, and it sounds great. So that's my point, is even when you're sort of putting yourself into these positions, you're like, I'm going to start off with this A here, but I'm going to create a little sequence you know, just moving down chromatically, that's a lot more challenging what I did there, but you could do it diatonically just by the scale notes, right? And then attach the appropriate arpeggio with it and then make the sequence that way. Now, of course, you can hear the utter juiciness of the diminished stuff, especially when you go from like the symmetrical method, which is really sort of abrasive as far as the diminished sound is concerned, into the much more sort of eloquent minor 7 flat 5. Don't miss out on that, okay? There's some serious love and magic there that I missed over for decades. Don't be that guy. So, no more talk. Get into these exercises, start doing the conversions, and then the next lesson we'll talk about how to connect these together into various arpeggio sequences and scale sequences and whatnot, and really get a serious practice session out of it. Good luck. We'll see you in the next one.